Melinda Ferguson Books' latest release, Meditating with the Rhinos, takes us to the African bush for the latest in the healing nature of wild beings. And written by acclaimed screenwriter and author Helena Kriel, this is her personal account of the interaction she had with the baby rhino when she returned to South Africa after going through a deep personal crisis abroad. To tell us more about this adventure that completely changed her outlook on life, as she details it in this book, Helena Kriel joins us now via Zoom. Helena, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Yes, good morning. Lovely to be with you guys.
It's an absolute pleasure being with you on the show. Let's talk about where this journey started for you. You are an A-list Los Angeles screenwriter, and then the writer's strike hit and things started to fall apart.
Yes, I was. I left South Africa and became an A-list screenwriter in Los Angeles. And I was very lucky that after 7 months of getting there, I won a Steven Spielberg Award, which really set me up. The whole doors opening to me, and a kind of a dream life, a creative dream life that happened to me in Los Angeles.
And now, Helena, you are back in the country and you started volunteering in the bush and working with baby rhinos. Take us through the decision behind this and about your love for rhinos.
So what happened was I embarked on a kind of adventure. I mean, I didn't really know where I was going. I wanted to volunteer with animals. I didn't know what animals I would find at the sanctuary. And I had always been very sad about what was going on with rhino poaching, as I'm sure most South Africans are, confused, feeling impotent, not knowing what to do. And when I showed up at the sanctuary, not knowing what animals were going to be there, behind the boma poles, I saw grey shapes. And I realized it's rhinos. And a sort of crazy emotion came through me because I realized that all of the rhinos, and they were all babies, were orphaned as a result of rhino poaching. And literally within an hour of getting to the sanctuary, I had a bottle in a baby rhino's mouth. And just having this youngster suck from the bottle that I was holding was the beginning of an unbelievable adventure. I was at the sanctuary for the first time. 3 weeks. And during that time, I had the incredible opportunity of being put in charge of 5 baby rhinos. But it was really the experience that I had with one particular rhino that started this experience for me, that started an adventure, that started a love affair, is what I would call it.
And why the title, Meditating with the Rhinos? What is it were you trying to tell us?
So you see, the thing is that what happened was a young rhino came in. His mother had been butchered in front of him. He'd been in the bush on his own for a week. He was covered with blood. He was completely traumatized. And he was bolting out of nightmares. They put him in a wooden crate. He smashed the crate to smithereens. They put him into a night pen. And Petronel Nivold, who runs the Care for Wild Rhino Sanctuary, said to the volunteers, listen, we've got a crisis on our hands. This little rhino won't drink milk. And unless he starts drinking milk, there's going to be a real problem. He's going to go down. He could even die. And so what we need is we need to establish a deep quiet around the night pen. Because what she wanted to do was just try and get she wanted to try and get him out of the trauma that he was in. So I meditate and have meditated in my adult life, and I piped up in the meeting, listen, I meditate, and I know that meditation affects energy and it brings a deep quiet. And I said, listen, there's nothing to lose. Would it help if I sit outside the night pen and meditate with this little baby rhino? Because meditation obviously would go through a door, to go through a wall. It's energy. So she looked at me and she said, listen, we've got nothing to lose. Let's do it. So I showed up at the night pen and I sat on the other side of the night pen door. And for 3 hours, I literally meditated. Yeah. And I communicated with this little rhino on the other side of the door. And really an extraordinary thing happened. And during that time, he received me. He received what I was doing. When we opened the night pen door and went in there, he drank milk. And that was the beginning of this experience that I had these rhinos, which was literally meditating.
Yeah.
There are a number of experiences in the book where I speak about this actual experience of meditating with these baby rhinos. There are probably about 3 or 4 different experiences that I chronically in the book.
You know, Helena, I find it very interesting how you detail every experience every experience and every encounter you've had with a baby rhino, especially the very first one you were introduced to. Take us through these encounters and just some of the traumas experienced.
So you see, the thing is that rhinos are a very loving creature, and a mother rhino loves her baby so deeply. And the babies with that mother rhino for 3 years, it's a very dependent little animal. So when the mother is literally butchered in front of that baby, a deep trauma sets into that animal. And they come into the sanctuary, they're literally broken. I mean, when you hear them cry, they cry for their mothers. We think of rhinos as a silent animal. They're not a silent animal at all. They're a very talkative animal. And when they're upset, they literally cry. And that squeaking, that crying, honestly, it breaks your heart. And so I was exposed to these rhinos. They were in a deep state of trauma. And they would cry out for their mothers. And so when I was given this opportunity to sit with them, I just thought to myself, if I'm quiet with them, if I show them love, if I show them respect, if I meditate as well with them, if I put my hand on them in a gesture of friendship, in a gesture of respect, maybe I'll start to claim them back a little bit in this nightmare that they're in. And that's literally what happened. I had an experience with a number of different rhinos that I experienced, that I speak about in the book. And it happened every time. The thing about the rhino is it's a very resilient animal. So if you reach out to it, as I did, and I reached out honestly with real love, with the respect, and wanting to connect to that animal, really respectfully, they receive you. They're very sentient. You would think of a rhino as I don't know, maybe I've even heard people say, oh, it's just a stupid animal with a horn. I mean, people say such odd things, but it's so far from being a stupid animal. It is a highly intelligent, very sentient animal. So when I reached out to them, when I meditated with them, when I connected to their eye, when I fed them with love, they received me and they wanted to know who I was. I mean, even when I fed black rhinos, and black rhinos are typically very aggressive animals. You have to be very careful when you feed a black rhino. But I fed the black rhinos with such quietness, and I connected to them, and they.
Helena, just listening to you as you so passionately detail your experiences that you've had with rhinos and baby rhinos, I get the feeling that there could be some commonalities that human beings share with rhinos. What are some of these similarities, if any?
Well, so you see, the thing is that I experienced that commonality. I was coming out of a very difficult time personally. And I would even use the word, I was very sad myself. And then I showed up at the rhino sanctuary. The book is about that experience as well. And I found myself in the sadness that I was sharing with these baby rhinos. My sadness was mirrored by their sadness. It was a very sort of interesting thing. But what I came to find is that they are resilient. They look for how they can recover. We as human beings really typically take quite a long time to recover. We can even take years to recover. But a rhino doesn't take a long time to recover. It looks to recover. Mm-hmm. And I talk about it. There's a saying that says, grow where life puts you down. Mm-hmm. That's what I came to find about the rhinos is they literally grow where life puts them down. If you think about the fact that they've been plucked out of the bush, they've been taken away from everything that they know, everything that they understand. Their mother walking beside them. They put in the sanctuary. Everything is foreign to them. Everything sounds strange. And yet, within a week, 2 weeks, honestly within a month, that baby rhino is recovering. It's finding new relationships. It's literally growing where life puts puts it down.
Yeah,
And that
so many people may take this book's title and cover and think perhaps, it's just another book about rhino. Yet in actual fact, it's sort of a detailed journey of how you applied your life lessons, or rather the lessons taught to you by rhinos on your life's journey.
Yes, absolutely. This is definitely not just another book about rhinos. The rhino became my teacher. I will really say it like that. The rhino became my teacher, and the rhino became the one I loved. It was such a deep love that I felt for these creatures, and that love was returned to me. And so, I as a human being start the story very sad. I even use the word broken. I was emotionally broken from a marriage that had gone wrong. And so, divorce is a very difficult thing. So when I start the story, I myself am very sad and very broken in the way that the baby rhinos are. And yet being with them absolutely started putting me together again. Also, what I would say is
unfortunately,
that
Helena, unfortunately, we are out of time. But just a quick one, Helena. We certainly cannot talk about rhinos without talking about the scourge of rhino poaching. Your thoughts on this, and what part can we as ordinary citizens play in protecting rhinos? Just yesterday, we reported on SABC News that about 7 rhinos were poached at Umfolozi Nature Reserve in KZN.
We have to take action. That's what I would say. Okay. Our rhinos are a South African gold for us.
Yes.
They bring money, they bring jobs. We need to protect these rhinos. Every single South African should actually reach out to an organization that they trust and start to do something. It doesn't matter if it's donate money, donate your services, make your voice heard. Hold the government to account. Yes. We are losing our rhinos. They are just disappearing from under our noses. Honestly, they will be gone in 6 years if we don't do something about it. So it's up to each and every one of us to speak out and to say this is not okay. As a South African, I object to this.
All right, Helena, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. I love your passion. I can actually see it in your eyes and through your voice. I mean, we need such voices in South Africa to protect these species and rhino in South Africa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's esteemed screenwriter, author and founder of Baby Rhino Rescue NGO, Helena Kriel. And we've been discussing her latest book, a memoir that she entitled Meditating with the Rhinos.